The Galactic Council was in chaos. Alarms rang across the chamber as new reports came in. One system after another sent messages filled with fear. On the wide holoscreen above the council floor, images played in real-time, cities burning, fleets breaking apart, whole worlds crying out. The attackers were merciless. A brutal empire, ancient and cruel, had swept across the border with fire and steel. They left nothing alive. Their fleets cut down defenders like dry grass before a storm. Delegates of the great powers shouted over each other, "We cannot risk our fleets." One alien ambassador barked, his voice trembling. "If we move, they will come for our worlds next," another said. "They are too strong. No one can stand against them." And so the council argued. They argued while colonies burned. They argued while children screamed through the combs. They argued while planets begged for help. The chamber lights flickered as another signal forced its way into the council's core systems. It was desperate, raw, filled with panic. A hologram appeared. A small alien child, her face dirty with ash, looked into the eyes of the council. Her voice broke as she spoke. "Please, someone, help us. They are killing everyone. Please." The signal cut out with static. For a moment, silence filled the hall. No one dared speak. They all knew what the answer would be. The council, in its wisdom, would do nothing. The great empires of the galaxy had grown too fat, too comfortable, too afraid of losing their own power. Ships could have been sent, armies could have been mobilized. But instead, the council whispered of treaties, of borders, of politics. And the star system screamed alone. One by one, the leaders turned away. Not our war. Not our people. Let them burn. The chamber grew cold with cowardice. But across the void, something different stirred. The desperate cry did not die in silence. It traveled. It bounced across relays, across forgotten listening posts, across the long dark between stars. Most ignored it. Some laughed. But the signal kept moving, until it reached a small blue world at the edge of the spiral arm. Earth. On Earth. The message did not fall on deaf ears. The broadcast was caught by deep space receivers, amplified and pushed into secure channels. In a darkened command center, human officers watched the footage of burning cities and dying families. No one spoke for a long time. The silence was heavy. Finally, an admiral broke it. "They're slaughtering them." Another officer leaned forward. "The council won't move. They never do." The admiral's eyes were fixed on the holoscreen, where the ash-covered child's plea replayed again and again. Her words echoed in the chamber. "Please, someone, help us." Earth had been underestimated for centuries. To the wider galaxy, humans were young, untested, a child race that played at diplomacy but never dared to strike. The council called them harmless. Some even called them weak. But in the command center, the officers did not look weak. Their faces were made of stone. Their silence was not fear. It was calculation. Around the world, quiet orders began to spread. Military networks that had slept for decades came alive. Black screens flickered with encrypted codes. Hidden channels went dark, cut off from all outside eyes. Satellites shifted in orbit. Fleets that were said to be decommissioned suddenly vanished from records. Old shipyards, long thought abandoned, lit up with new power. Humanity was not ignoring the signal. Humanity was listening, and humanity was preparing. The galaxy, safe in its arrogance, believed Earth would stay silent like the rest. They did not know human history. They did not remember Earth's long wars, its endless scars, the times humanity had been pushed to the edge and clawed its way back. On Earth, leaders met in secret. In quiet rooms, across glowing tables, they spoke in clipped words. "We cannot save everyone." "No, but we can save enough." They will learn what it means to beg humanity for help. Outside, ordinary people carried on with their lives. They did not know that something vast was moving under their feet. They did not see the fleets assembling, the weapons charging, the shadows waking not, but in the dark between the stars. The cry for help had lit a fire, and that fire was human. The galaxy would soon learn the truth. When the Council chose silence, Earth chose action. When the empires chose fear, Earth chose war. And when the helpless cried for aid, Earth, humanity, would unleash a hidden power the galaxy had never dreamed existed. For now, the galaxy still believed the humans were harmless. For now, the attackers laughed and continued their slaughter. But the silence of Earth was not weakness. The signal kept playing. Over and over, the image of the alien child filled Earth's hidden command centers. Her words, broken by static, echoed in the silence. Please, someone help us. Every time the recording ended, the room grew colder. In the underground halls of Geneva Command, the highest seat of Earth's Defense Council, leaders of every nation sat together. Some wore uniforms, some wore suits, but all carried the same look: hard, heavy, and silent. The message had shaken them. Not because of the brutality, it was nothing new. Humanity had seen enough wars, genocides, and disasters on its own world. No, what shook them was the silence of the galaxy. Billions cried out, and the mighty empires had done nothing. They're cowards, one general said, his fist tight on the table. All their fleets, all their ships, and they still let them burn. A diplomat spoke, calm but sharp. They fear losing their own power. They will let millions die before risking their seats. Another officer leaned forward. And now the cry has reached us. The words hung in the air. Everyone knew the truth. The decision could not be delayed. Earth had remained quiet in galactic affairs for centuries. They had listened, watched, traded, learned. The Council had mocked humans, called them harmless, called them slow. But all that time, Earth had been building. For years, humanity had poured its mind into preparation. Shipyards hidden inside asteroids, weapons buried under ice, fleets disguised as freighters, technology pushed in silence, hidden from the arrogant. Eyes of the Council and now came the moment of decision. The chairwoman of the Council of Earth stood. Her voice was steady. The galaxy looked away, but we are not the galaxy. We are human, and we do not ignore cries for help. Around the table, no one argued. No one asked if they were ready. No one spoke of fear. They all knew humanity's history. When pushed, humans had never stood still. They had fought until the world broke, and even then, they had risen from the ashes. The chairwoman raised her hand. Then it is decided. We move, orders raced. Across the planet, military networks lit up. Fleets that were thought retired suddenly reappeared on secret rosters. Across Earth's colonies, the Moon, Mars, Europa engines thundered as massive warships rose from hidden bays. On the surface of Saturn's moon Titan, a fleet of black ships lifted silently, their hulls absorbing light. No insignias marked them. To the galaxy, they had never existed. To humanity, they were the spear. Civilians saw none of this. To the average human, life carried on streets full of lights, markets buzzing, people working. But in the shadows, humanity was preparing to change the galaxy forever. Far from Earth, alien scouts observed that the attackers, drunk with victory, had dismissed humanity as nothing more than background noise. But some of their spies reported strange activity in Sol. Energy spikes. Massive. Larger than their technology should allow, one scout reported. His commander laughed. Humans? They are nothing. Let them move. It will change nothing. But even as he mocked, his instruments flickered. Whole regions of space near Earth grew dark. Hidden behind layers of jamming and distortion, the humans were sealing their system. Back on Earth, in a command center deep under the Atlantic, an admiral stood before a wall of glowing stars. Red lines marked the burning system where the desperate cry had come from. He looked at his officers. "We are not going as saviors. We are going as humans. And that means we bring everything." The officers nodded. From Earth to the farthest colony, silence spread through military networks. Not fear, but discipline. Every soldier, every pilot, every captain understood. This was not a war of choice. This was humanity's answer to a plea. The first fleets began to move. In the blackness of space, engines roared to life, silent but burning like suns. Hundreds of ships, frigates, destroyers, carriers slid out of shadow. Their formations were perfect, their weapons ready. One by one, massive jump gates lit up, glowing like fire across the dark. The fleets vanished into them, heading for war the galaxy believed humanity could not fight. And still, the galaxy mocked. In the great council chamber, alien ambassadors laughed when Earth's movements were reported. Humans? They will be crushed. They have no power, no empire, no strength. They are a child race, rushing to their own death. But in hidden corners, a few whispered different words. What if we were wrong about them? What if humanity is not weak? Back on Earth, as the last ships departed, the chairwoman stood before the Council of Generals. Her words were recorded, sealed, and broadcast only to those who wore a uniform. When they begged for help, the galaxy turned its back. But we will not. The empires think us weak. They will soon learn what happens when humanity decides to rise. And so it began. The cry for help had reached Earth. And Earth had decided the galaxy would never be the same again. It was the calm before the storm. The galaxy expected nothing from humanity. When news spread that Earth had sent fleets, laughter echoed in the halls of the Galactic Council. The delegates smirked, their voices dripping with mockery. A child race sends ships into war? One ambassador sneered. They will be wiped out before they even arrive, another said. Let them burn. It will teach them not to play at being heroes. The galaxy had judged humanity long ago young, reckless, harmless. In all records, humans were only a footnote, traitors and diplomats, never warriors. But the galaxy had never seen what humans kept hidden, far from the council's halls. In the deep cold of space, Earth's fleets emerged from the gates. At first, they looked small compared to the massive armadas of the ancient empires. Hundreds of ships, sleek and black, drifting in formation. Their hulls bore no marks, no flags, no signals. To ordinary sensors, they seemed ordinary. The enemy empire, already feeding on its conquests, barely paid attention. But then, the sensors began to fail. Enemy ships monitoring the border reported strange readings. Their scanners blurred. Energy spikes surged in every direction. Entire fleets disappeared from the scopes, as if swallowed by the void itself. What is happening? One alien commander barked, slamming his claws on the console. Unknown interference, his officer replied nervously. It is coming from the human fleet, the commander scoffed. Impossible. Humans do not possess such. Before he could finish, the human fleet lit up. Engines flared like suns, cutting across the darkness. Their ships moved in silence, but with terrifying precision. And then, something greater appeared. Behind the first wave of warships, colossal shadows drifted forward. They were not destroyers, not carriers, not anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were titans, hidden for centuries in the ice of Europa, in the crust of Mars, in the black of the Kuiper Belt. Humanity had built giants. Warships so vast they blotted out stars, their armored hulls thicker than city walls. their weapons bristling with unimaginable power. Each Titan moved with slow grace, like a predator that knew no equal. The galaxy had never believed humans could construct such monsters. They had been wrong. On the burning system's edge, the enemy empire prepared to mock the humans, to crush them in front of fleeing refugees. Their fleets stretched wide, confident, arrogant. The alien commander gave the order. Target the human fleet. Destroy them before the others see. Weapons charged, but the humans did not wait. Without warning, the black silence of space erupted. Human warships' fire is one. Beams of light, faster than thought, ripped across the void. Missiles streaked in every direction, vanishing and reappearing with impossible speed. Alien shields flared, then shattered like glass. The enemy had expected an easy kill. Instead, their front line vanished in a storm of fire. One alien officer screamed, "They're cutting through us like we're nothing." The commander's eyes widened. Impossible. Their weapons are stronger than ours. The council received the first fragments of battle reports. Delegates leaned forward, confused. The humans. They destroyed the first wave? A trick. Others muttered, "It cannot last." Their technology is primitive. But more reports came. Hundreds of enemy ships lost. Human losses. Minimal. The council chamber grew uneasy. On the battlefield, the true power of humanity revealed itself. The Titans moved into range. Their guns were not many, but each shot was devastating. Whole cruisers were split in half with a single blast. Waves of plasma fire melted through enemy armor. Their engines pushed so much force that even the void seemed to tremble. And then came the strangest. Weapon of all. Human science had always searched for ways to turn weakness into strength. Outnumbered, outmatched, humans had learned to fight smarter. At the heart of each Titan pulsed a gravity core. With a low hum, the cores activated. Enemy ships suddenly shuddered. Their formations collapsed. Gravity twisted in unnatural ways, dragging vessels into each other, tearing them apart without a single shot fired. Aliens screamed in disbelief. That is Forbidden's technology. No race dares to, but humanity dared. Humanity had always dared. Refugee ships hiding in the system watched in stunned silence. Where they had expected another massacre, they now saw deliverance. Through cracked viewports, survivors whispered to one another. "Who are they?" "Humans," someone answered. The humans came, and hope, long dead, flickered again. In the council chamber, the laughter stopped. Delegates sat frozen as reports streamed in. Fleets destroyed. Colonies liberated. Enemy. Forces in retreat. This cannot be, one whispered. The humans, they were supposed to be harmless. But deep inside, every leader knew the truth. The galaxy had been blind. Humans had not been harmless. They had been waiting. As the battle reached its peak, the human admiral gave the final command. His voice was calm, steady. "Push them back. Leave none standing." The Titans roared. The smaller ships swooned. The enemy empire, so feared by all, began to crumble under the weight of humanity's fury. And across the galaxy, whispers spread like wildfire. The humans, they are not weak. The humans, they are death itself. The hidden power of Earth has awakened. When the battle ended, the system was free. Refugees wept as human ships escorted them to safety. And in the silence after victory, a message was sent not to the council, not to the enemy, but to everyone who had listened to the desperate cry. It was short, simple, and terrifying. The battlefield was silent. Wreckage drifted across the stars, glowing like embers after a storm. Hundreds of alien ships had been torn apart, their twisted hulls floating in the void. Human warships moved carefully through the debris, their weapons still hot, their engines burning like cold fire. For the refugees, it was a miracle. For the enemy, it was humiliation. The empire that had crushed countless civilizations had been defeated by humans. The news reached the enemy's high command within hours. In a fortress world surrounded by black suns, the warlord of the empire listened in silence. His generals trembled before him, their scaled bodies shaking as they reported, "Our fleets were destroyed, Great One. Entire lines broken. Thousands of ships lost." The warlord's eyes narrowed. His claws scraped against the stone floor. By who? Humans, Great One. The race from the Sol system? For a moment, the warlord did not speak. Then he laughed. A deep, rumbling laugh that echoed across the chamber. Humans? The child race? You dare tell me our empire bleeds at the hands of weaklings? The general swallowed hard. It is true. They wield weapons we have not seen before. Ships the size of moons. Forbidden technologies. They fight without fear. The warlord rose, towering above his generals. His armor clinked with every step. Then bring me their leader. If they wish to play at war, let us see if they dare to face me directly. The challenge was sent across the stars. A direct communication beam, locked on the human fleet. No encryption, no tricks. Just a voice filled with fury. This is the warlord of the empire. You humans are nothing but dust. I demand to speak with your leader before I crush your pitiful fleet. The message echoed across human channels. In the command ship Vigilant, Admiral Marcus Hawley stood at the center of the bridge. His face was calm, his uniform spotless, his eyes hard as stone. Around him, officers watched in silence. The admiral nodded once, patching through. The screen lit up. The warlord appeared, massive and armored, eyes glowing with arrogance. Behind him, the walls of his throne room were decorated with the skulls of conquered species. He leaned forward, smiling with sharp teeth. "So, the humans finally show their faces," he growled. "Tell me, little man, do you think your victory means anything? Do you think you can stop my empire?" Admiral Hale's voice was quiet, steady, like steel wrapped in ice. "You invaded a helpless system. You slaughtered children. You burned worlds. And now you face humanity." The warlord laughed again. "Humanity? A speck of dirt on the edge of the galaxy? You are nothing." "They." Admiral did not flinch. His eyes never left the screen. "Then why," he asked, "are your fleets running?" The warlord froze for a moment. The words cut deeper than any blade. Reports of retreating ships had already reached him, but hearing it spoken aloud by a human, it was unbearable. "You dare mock me?" The warlord roared. The admiral leaned forward. His voice grew colder. "We do not mock. We do not boast. We do not run. Humanity fights. And if you want to test us, then come. We will not hide. We will not stop." For the first time in centuries, the warlord felt something new. A flicker of doubt. The transmission ended. On the Vigilant, the bridge was silent. Then the admiral turned to his officers. "Prepare the fleet. He will come for us." And he did. Within days, the enemy empire launched one of its largest armadas in history. Thousands of ships poured into the system, surrounding the humans like a net of fire. Refugee vessels fled behind the human fleet, desperate to escape. Galaxy watched in fear. Even the council sent spies to see if the humans would finally be broken. The warlord himself commanded the fleet. His massive flagship dwarfed even the human titans, a monster bristling with weapons, shields layered thick as mountains. From his throne, he sent a final message. "Humans, this is your end. I will scatter your bones across the stars." The human fleet stood ready. Admiral Hawley paced the bridge, his hands behind his back. Officers reported positions. Fighters launched. Titans aligned. Every ship was silent, waiting for his word. He looked out at the endless wave of enemy ships. He knew. They were outnumbered 10-1. Earth has answered. The galaxy had always believed Earth was small, weak, and unimportant. But now, as fleets moved into position, the truth was beginning to show. The Galactic Council watched from their high towers. On their giant screens, they saw strange human warships arriving in the burning system. At first, the Council laughed. They send only a few ships? Against an empire like the Kravos? Foolish. But then silence fell in the chamber. The human ships looked different shapes the galaxy had never seen. Their hulls were black, sharp, and glowing faintly with strange blue energy. They did not match any known design. Some council members whispered, "Are these new or old?" In the burning star system, the Kravos fleet surrounded the last surviving colonies. Alien commanders laughed as they prepared to fire. This battle is already over. Then human ships appeared. They did not send warnings. They did not negotiate. They simply moved. The first human ship glided forward, glowing brighter. Enemy scanners tried to lock on, but failed. The Kravos commander shouted, "Fire everything!" Dozens of plasma cannons lit up space. Beams of deadly energy raced toward the human ship. For a moment, the galaxy thought it was finished, but then nothing. The beams bent, split, and vanished into the dark field surrounding the human vessel. Like water crashing against a wall, the Kravos fire did no damage. The galaxy gasped. The human ship answered. One pulse of blue light, silent, swift, deadly. A Kravos battleship, 3 times its size, cracked apart like glass. The council chamber filled with panic. This is impossible. One alien leader shouted, "No technology can do that." Cried another, but the truth was undeniable. Humans were using something hidden, something old, something no one else understood. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Did Earth keep ancient weapons? Did they hide secrets all along? Back in the system, the battle grew fierce. The Kravos sent wave after wave, but human ships moved like shadows. Their weapons were not just strong, they were precise. Every shot destroyed a target instantly. Kravos commander roared, "Impossible. They are only humans." But his voice shook with fear. Within hours, the once proud Kravos fleet was in flames. Wreckage drifted across the stars. The colonies, once moments from destruction, looked up to see human ships standing guard. The people cried out in relief. For the first time in history, salvation had come not from the great powers of the galaxy, but from Earth. But humans did not celebrate. Their commanders spoke little. Their ships did not broadcast victory speeches. Instead, they sent only one message to the galaxy. This system is safe. Harm it again, and you will face us. The words spread like fire. The council froze. Empires trembled. For the first time, they began to understand. Earth was no longer the silent world they had ignored. Earth had awakened its hidden power, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy had never been this quiet. Across thousands of worlds, citizens, soldiers, and rulers all stared at the same broadcast. Human fleets were in motion. Millions of engines lit up the void like burning stars. Whole sectors of space trembled as Earth revealed its hidden strength. For centuries, the galaxy thought humans were weak, harmless, and small. But now, they watched the truth with their own eyes. Earth had been silent not because of fear, but because of preparation. The burning empire, the enemy empire, the one that started the slaughter, the one that made entire star systems scream for help finally, realized what was coming. Their fleets massed together in desperation. Admirals of the empire shouted orders, forcing hundreds of thousands of warships into position. Their leaders laughed nervously on their thrones, trying to convince themselves that the humans could be crushed. But deep down, fear spread. Their soldiers whispered, "How did Earth hide this power?" The first clash, the humans did not send warnings. They did not ask for surrender. They simply arrived. The human fleets dropped out of FTL like shadows tearing open the night sky. Massive carriers, titanic battleships, and swarms of smaller strike craft filled the void. Their hulls glowed with strange human designs, machines built for war, for survival, for revenge. The enemy fired first. Beams, plasma, and missiles filled the space between stars. But then came Earth's answer. Human weapons roared. Energy bursts brighter than suns ripped through the void. Entire alien battleships cracked apart in seconds. Enemy fleets that had crushed weaker races for centuries shattered like glass under human fire. The world watches. Broadcast reached the galaxy again. Every council chamber, every governor's palace, every alien home saw it. The Empire burning. Under human guns. The same rulers who had laughed at Earth's silence now sat frozen. Some whispered in terror. Others watched in awe. A few even prayed, hoping humans would stop after victory. But no one spoke loudly, because they all knew the galaxy had awakened. Something it could not control. The ground wore on. The worlds were. The Empire had enslaved civilians. Human soldiers landed. They did not come as conquerors. They came as liberators. Battle armor gleamed under alien suns as they moved through ruined cities. The enemy tried to resist, but human soldiers fought like storms. Fast, brutal, unstoppable. Entire enemy divisions fell within hours. And then, silence. The civilians, alien survivors of the Empire's cruelty, looked up at the humans. At first, they trembled, unsure. But when the soldiers removed their helmets, revealing tired human faces, a strange thing happened. The aliens cheered. For the first time in living memory, someone had answered their cries. Someone had not ignored them. It was Earth. The Council. Trembles back in the great halls of the Galactic Council. Fear ruled. The same leaders who once mocked Earth now whispered desperate plans. We must stop them. No, if we fight, we will be destroyed. But if we do nothing, humans will rise too high. For hours they argued. But outside their windows, the galaxy already knew the truth. Earth had proven itself. The weak species had done what no empire dared, stood against terror, crushed it, and freed those who were forgotten. The final silence at last, when the last enemy fleet burned and the Empire's capital fell, the humans spoke. A single message echoed across the galaxy. Calm, clear, uncheckable. This war is over. We did not fight for conquest. We fought because no one else would. But remember this. If the galaxy ever falls silent again when innocents cry out, Earth will rise once more. The galaxy listened in silence. And for the first time in countless ages, it believed.